Labor Talks was John DeRosier, recorded at Chippewa Valley Community Television in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Good day and welcome to Labor Talks. My name is still John DeRosier, and today's special guest is Dean Scanlon, the Vice President of the Greater West Central Area Labor Council. Dean, welcome to Labor Talks.
Thank you, John.
Seriously.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, first question right off the bat is, why did you become active with the Greater West Central Area Labor Council?
Okay, first of all, I became involved because I am in fact a laborer from Local 268 here out of Eau Claire. Brother Ron Rubles, who was our delegate at the time to the council, was getting ready to retire, and he invited me to start attending meetings in the hopes that I would take over for him. And then when he did retire, I became the sole delegate from the Wisconsin Laborers, Local 268.
And let's see, how has this benefited you? And if it has benefited you, how has it helped you?
Well, there's actually two ways it's benefited me as a worker. First of all, as a laborer, it has opened my eyes to many more issues than just what we as laborers deal with. But as a delegate to the council, it has opened my eyes, like I say, to many more possibilities of other than just my way of life. I have a better job, I have a better pay than I did as a non-union worker, and I have better insurance. I have year-round insurance if I'm gainfully employed, or I can still purchase it. But the possibilities are endless. I just got done attending a OSHA 30 class put on by the Wisconsin Laborers that I am now more gainfully employed and more opportunities. And I would not have had that opportunity if I had been non-union. I would have had to pay for it out of my own pocket. So this has definitely opened up doors for myself and my family.
Why is it called OSHA 30?
It is the Occupational Safety Health Administration, and it is 30 hours of training that you have to attend to attain this level. It's more training other than just your basic first aid, CPR, the simple things that are covered in the OSHA 10, which is a 10-hour course. The OSHA 30 delves much deeper into circumstances on jobs, above ground, underground. So along that line, many more realms are expanded with this training that you are aware of.
So basically what this teaches you is how to practice safety and protect your fellow workers.
As well as myself, yes, definitely.
You mean some? No, I won't say that. Okay. Now, obviously you're married.
Yes.
I met your wife.
Yes.
And most of the time you're happily married.
Wonderfully happily married, 27 years. My wife said only 2 of them happily, though. So the first one she didn't know what she was getting into, but this last one she knows darn well what she's getting out of. But no, 27 wonderful years with my wife and my 2 stepsons and several dogs and cats over the years.
I won't ask you about the dogs and cats.
Well, they're more precious to me, though. You must know that. So.
Okay, seriously, what does your wife and your stepsons, what do they think of all your union activities?
My stepsons were 9 and 7 when we got married, so by the time I became union, they were long gone out of the house. They do know that I am very much involved with political things because of my union position, if you will, accreditation, I should say. They support me in my endeavors. The fact that they work at jobs that pay more than minimum wage, they will appreciate having a union background with benefits, if you will, versus an hourly job working for minimum wage with nothing on top of it. So they do support me in my work, and my wife does as well too, although some of the nights with our COPE committees, our planning committees, you name it, they do get long, but she understands as well as they do.
So she doesn't hold it against you and say, you've got another blah, blah union activity tonight?
No, I think she can use the break now and then, so. No, she supports me very much in our endeavors. As you do know, she does attend our Santa Day and our Labor Day picnic, I forgot to mention. Our Labor Day picnic as well as our Santa Day. She is a big help in those as well. So.
I know, because she enjoys working with my wife.
Yes, yes.
And I think...
And John has a wonderful wife as well.
I will be the judge of that. No, seriously, Beth says she's great. She
Outstanding,
really is great.
Yes.
But I think when our wives are with us, It's more of a social occasion, and we actually have a good time, and we get work done at the
Yes.
same time, and I like that.
More hands lighten the load, and the spirits are lifted. I'm not so much more on my best behavior because I try to be on my best behavior all the time, but it is truly a good gathering.
And let's see here. We both know that union membership is not where we like it to be.
No,
It's down.
definitely.
Okay? So, what should unions be doing to increase their numbers and influence?
The one thing I think that we could be doing and should be doing is encouraging more of our members to attend our local meetings. Our meeting happens to be the first Friday of the month. It's always at the same location.
Now, that's your local.
The local Labor's Local 268. We meet the first Friday of the month, and it's always at the Labor Temple. However, we used to be stationed over in Wausau and Wisconsin Rapids. There are separate halls over there, but we still, because the main office is in Eau Claire, we do hold 2 satellite meetings, one in Wisconsin Rapids, one in Wausau, 2 times a year. So we reach those members who are a little bit further out that maybe can't drive every Friday, for that first Friday of the month, I should say, to our monthly meetings. So we do reach out to our members as much as we can. We encourage them to stay politically active. Make sure that you vote. If you're not going to be home, make sure that you take the time to absentee ballot and stay apprised of the issues. The biggest issues that we have, we do get mailers, either a postcard or a full sheet letter that is sent out through the office. Excuse me. And we do encourage our members to participate any way they can. We hold classes through the AFL-CIO where we send out information ahead of time. We'll be having a class. Please come in and listen. If you don't understand, we will answer your questions as best as we can. And we don't just do it only from the union side, but from the public side as far as I'm concerned. Because we are the public. We are the working families. We spend our hard-earned money in the valley, or excuse me, in our areas. Why should the public not be aware of what we do as well? It's not just union versus non-union. It is working families working for a better tomorrow. And I want my grandchildren, step-grandchildren, mind you, but I want my grandchildren to have just as good an opportunity as my wife and I have had in our lives. And that's what it's about. It's about community spirit and working with families.
If I were to go to one of your local meetings, what could I expect?
Well, first of all, the meetings are closed to members only. You would come in as a guest. You would be allowed to present what you have to talk about. And unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to stay for the meetings.
But if I were a union member?
If you were a union member, you would come in. The basic meeting, which I'm very proud to say, every meeting we start off by standing up and doing the Pledge of Allegiance, reaffirming our faith with the country, and then we sit down, we do a roll call through the officers. Basically, by attending a meeting for the first time, you get to see the delegates from the council in our local named, and then you can put a name to the face. And then as the meetings go through, various members of our board give reports. It's an eye-opener. The first meeting I attended it's been almost 10 years now. The first meeting that I attended, I knew 3, maybe 4 people. But then I started attending the meetings, and I get to know more and more brothers and sisters. And by my willingness to attend the meetings, and not being afraid to raise my hand and say, I second that motion, and then for the discussion, to give my 2 cents worth. Why I think it's a good idea, why I think it's a bad idea. But either way, my voice is to be heard, and it is accepted. It might always not be accepted, but it is at least heard.
Now, I don't want to get into the, shall we say, non-privileged information about what takes place, because obviously you want to keep a lot of that to yourself.
Right.
But let's say I'm a member of your union, and there are things going on at work that I don't care for, such as maybe I want to increase my wages, or maybe I have a supervisor who is harassing me. Would that be a legitimate concern to bring up?
Not so much at the meetings. If you have a conflict with a fellow worker or a worker that's not affiliated with us, that is something we would talk to our business agents or business manager in private about, because it's just short of filing a grievance, if you will, that this worker I have a working problem with. I might not care for their lifestyle, but that's beyond the point. That's not my problem. That is my problem, I should say. It's not their problem. If I have a problem with safety, it is to be dealt with immediately on the spot with the working contractor you're with. But if this continues on where this person is blatantly disregarding rules for my safety as well as theirs, I take it up with the owner, and then I go talk to my business agents or managers. And if that person is deemed not right for the job, they will eventually be, it will be found out, they will be reprimanded and possibly removed from the job. The upshot of it is our agents and managers are there to help provide us security and safety in our workplace.
Okay. Now you have spoken with employees who don't belong to unions.
Many.
Yes. And have they given, what are their objections? Why don't they want to belong to a union?
The biggest thing that I have folks tell me that are non-union working the same field of construction, their biggest complaint is they do not want to have to pay dues. They don't want to have to pay anything other than what they get on their paycheck. That's their money. They work for it. They said, I don't want anyone else to get a piece of the pie. But the upshot of it is, many of these folks I talk to make less than $10 an hour with no benefits, no job security, no legal form of recourse should something happen and it wasn't their fault, but they might be blamed. They could just as easily be dropped off in the street corner and sent packing with no recourse. And I've talked with these people and I said, well, here's the deal. Say you're making $10 an hour. The job is bid out at $70 an hour. You're making $10 an hour. What happens to that $60? That goes to the owner. If the union bids a job at $70 and I'm making, we'll say $25 for a round number, $25 on the paycheck, and then you add in my health and pension, that's $40. So my owner is getting $30, of that $70, the owner gets $30, and I make $40 total package. Why are you only making $10? They're getting all the money, but you say we're the devil because we make too much money. Our groups pay for our own training. We pay our own insurance. We basically pay our own unemployment insurance, if you will, too. We pay everything, but you're only getting 10. Why are you not making more? Because you don't want to pay extra in dues? If you're working for that, you're paying a lot more than dues than I ever will. And I'm sorry if you don't understand that. The problem is they don't see the picture. Our owners work with us hand in hand. If we don't make the company money, our owners don't make their money. They go out of business. We have no job.
Basically, if you work for a non-union company, you're making a lot less money, like you just said, than if you're working for a unionized company. But if one is working for a unionized company and you have people in that company who don't want to belong to that union, those non-union members are making good money because of what the union pulls in. So the union is carrying non-union employees in a union company.
Well, we do not have any non-union companies or any union companies with non-union members. The only non-union members that our union companies basically have is the office staff. And they do have the right to join an office staff union. But every laborer on a job site working for Markin & Johnson, Bolt, Myron, Vanashik and Schaefer, Lunda, Zenith Tech, any of our big companies, every member that's doing our work had better be union or there will be a grievance on the job. Why are the non-union working there getting the benefits without having to pay the dues? And that's in our contracts. They will hire only union members. Whereas on the other side, there is no representation. There is no legal recourse. If you get hurt, well, they might pay you some, but you would have to take them to court yourself. We do have some protection we have a lot of protection for safety as well as our pay and our livelihoods.
See, that's something I didn't know, because I had been told that if you work for a company that has a union, there will always be some people who do not want to become part of that union. But
Right.
but if they're working for a unionized company, they need to join the union.
Yes.
And then they complain because they had to join the union, but they sure don't complain one bit about the increased salaries.
Exactly. And benefits. The benefits alone, is worth much more than our pay. If you had to pay those out-of-pocket costs, especially on that lower wage with no protection, you couldn't survive.
I agree.
And when we done our political phone calls, I do get many workers that don't see the picture. They listen to the wrong TV channels. You can watch and listen to whatever you want, but look at what's actually happening out in the field. When they say this, they do this. They say this, they do this. There is such a big difference there that if you want to work non-union, you go work non-union. But if you want the good pay, you will work union. You might not be happy with it, but look at the difference of what you're bringing home, the safety that you're bringing home for your family, in the working conditions that they gown you up. If it's hazardous waste, we have all the equipment to maintain our health as well as our families. On the jobs that are like nuclear or hazardous waste, we actually have dressing areas, gowning areas, where you walk in the morning, you walk through, by the time you get to the containment area, you are as safe as can humanly be without being in a plastic bubble with nothing to get into you. When you're done, you go back through that decontamination line. You take the stuff off and it's disposed of. By the time you're out, you're as clean as you got there, and you are not bringing that home to contaminate your family, your children, or God forbid, your grandchildren. The non-union workers, I've seen them pull up to the gas stations and grocery stores in the area. It looks like they crawled out of a cesspit. And I know what they're working in stuff that's hazardous to them, but it's just that.
I worked for a non-union company, and we tried to bring in a union. And the employer intimidated people during the campaign, scared the daylights out of people. And I couldn't help but think that the very reason that the employers object to bringing in a union is a good reason to bring in a union, because if somebody's trying to scare the hell out of me, I'm going to look for the nearest protection I can get, which is a union. And once that union is in place, then you have the protection that you need, not just to keep your job, but to keep yourself safe on the job. Is that accurate?
It is accurate, and I don't know to what degree that is legal or illegal for the activities of the owners. The thing that scares the owners is they will have a more knowledgeable work base. And the more knowledgeable the employees are, the owner had better be much more smarter, because if they say things that are untrue, the union will say you can't tell them that. Whereas if it's with the other group that's non-union, it's not the same.
Yeah. One other thing, I don't want people to think that this is just about me, but when I tried to bring in a union, I had supervisors following me around. And if they thought that they were intimidating me, no, you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
All you were doing was making me angry, because you did not want me to have a voice in the place where I work.
In the workplace, correct.
And I don't like being pushed around.
No.
And both of us know that.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Okay. Let's see. What about companies? Now, you know, there are companies. I've talked with people in management positions, and some of these people say, yes, they want to have a union because they are sick and tired of losing good people.
Right.
Okay? Now, that's clear.
Very clear.
You mentioned it a few minutes ago.
Yes.
But there are companies who want nothing to do with the union.
Right.
What do they tell you?
It basically, from all their rhetoric and all their stories, it all comes down to the bottom line, the dollar. How can I make my piece of the pie bigger and keep theirs as small as I can so I have the more money? Our union companies started out small, just like everybody generally does. But over the years, they have found, by hiring trained, skilled workers who do the work correctly, they have less hassles. There was There's a gas station that the whole perimeter around the store was poured after the gas tanks were put in by a non-union company, and it was poured flat. We have to pour this whole section from this side of the parking lot to the road, this road to this side of the yard. We have to pour it. They poured it flat. Why? Because what else are you going to do? Well, typically, if you're going to pour concrete and you want it to stay away from the building, you will have it at a pitch that it would sufficiently cause the water to run away from the building. The company was found, well, when I stopped and talked to the owner of the project, they said it was poured entirely wrong. They ended up having to come back in and jackhammer all that concrete out, and it was basically 4 to 6 inches thick is all it was. But we're talking a third of a parking lot basically had to be removed. And then with the simple elevation with our tools with the basic transit and level, if I know that this is my starting point and this is my ending point, there's going to be some runoff here. You don't pour it flat. But with our training that we have available, every worker that goes down there could run these basic transit and levels and our other scoping equipment to ensure that it's done the right first time. Many contractors don't agree with the union, the small businesses. We don't prefer to have the union here, but we're going to hire you because we know you're going to get the work done first and right as best as humanly possible.
So in the long run, if you have union people working for you, the chances are very, very good, even better, that they know what they're doing as opposed to non-union people.
Yes, and then knowing that they're making a much better wage,
yep.
Would you not want to invest more into that? If I can make this now, I'm going to be stuck at this wage for the rest of my life. But if I join this group and they put me through training, our training center has roughly 30 training classes. At this point, I have taken 26 of those 30. I do not like being laid off, and the more I am gainfully employed, I can work for a number of them contractors in the course of the year simply because they need workers for this. They need somebody who can drive the lull, the forklift, the concrete work that's done finishing on concrete, but I need somebody who can do scaffolding. The list goes on, and now with this OSHA 30 that I took, I am more gainfully employed and available to to the companies as a worker. And like I say, if we don't make them money, we don't make money. They don't have a job because we don't have work because we don't have a job. And this gets us there.
Different companies have what you call job descriptions. And there are some employees who think, why do I need a job description? Quite frankly, if you don't have a job description, you're bringing in people who cannot do the job.
Right.
And I believe that job description is a result of union activity.
Very possibly, very possibly. When people are brought in off the streets, I need somebody who can do this work. Well, I can do the work. Can you really do the work? Or are you just saying you could do the work so you get the job? Just because you can say you can build me a skyscraper doesn't mean you can build me a skyscraper. I've taken many classes over the year. Like I say, I'm not the most proficient with carpentry. I can do roofing, but I don't like heights, so I'm not the best roofer. But I know my limitations. I know what I can and cannot do. And with our job descriptions, when a hall calls up, we need somebody with the MSHA, the Mine Safety Health Administration card, so I can work in sand mines, sand pits. I need somebody with the LUL card, which is the rough terrain forklift. I need somebody that can do scaffolding when I need it. I have the scaffolding card. I do not like doing the scaffolding, so I'll be the ground man and I'll get you everything you need. But at the end of the day, that job description for that comes up. When I do the job, when I go to the job, I had better know how to do those things and do them correctly. We do have a we do have a reward system in our contracts now. If the contractor says that I need somebody who can do this, this, and this, that person gets to the job site and they turn out that they can't do it, they are deficient in those areas, that is a mark against them. So that would then encourage that worker to definitely go get that training. The more strikes you get at a certain point, they will let you go. So we do have a reward system.
So if I'm an employer and I'm out and I'm talking to a potential employee and I give that potential employee the job description, I say, can you do A, B, and C? That's protection for me as an employer.
Yes.
Correct?
And it might not be the answer you want. I am very good when it comes to dismantling and erecting scaffolding. I'm not very good in heights. With all honesty, I'm not good with heights. Okay, well, I'll take that under advisement. But that's what it comes down to. The job description fits the worker.
Now, you've talked about the financial benefits of belonging to a union. So I'm just going to point blank ask you, have you seen a wage increase as a result of your union membership / activities, and have you seen an increase, or have you benefited from healthcare benefits and retirement benefits?
Definitely. Years ago, I used to be a machinist, and I worked for a non-union company up in Grantsburg, and the upshot of it was the oil and the solvent was making me sick. And while I did enjoy the work, I couldn't literally stomach it. So when we moved down to the valley, I took a while. I came in as I took apprenticeship tests with Wisconsin laborers. I took it with the electricians. I took it with the carpenters. I did the operators, engineers. The upshot of it is the laborers were the ones that was most suited for, so they were able to take me on, and here I am. But the deal is, we have had, over the years, we've had a rise and fall. It's seasonal, of course, but our numbers are truly up. There is a lot of work in the area that's come in from Minnesota, contractors coming in with our sand mines going on. The hopefully potential road work will benefit us, but there has been a small upswing in numbers this year. And the health and retirement benefits are much better than when I was a non-union machinist, if you will.
There's also, I think, a camaraderie that exists between union members, and we see that at the Labor Council, correct?
Definitely.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add, Dean?
I think becoming a Wisconsin laborer is probably the greatest thing that I have done in my life for my family and myself. I now have a health and pension. I don't want to jinx it, but they are one of the best because we work together as one and we get the work done and we make our contractors money or we don't have a job.
Now, we have less than 1 minute to go, so I'm going to, first of all, thank you, Dean, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I much appreciate it. Now, something I'd like to point out. I am a Green Bay Packer fan. Dean is a Minnesota Viking fan. But overriding that is the fact that we both support unions. And you've seen how well we get along. And that is one hell of a benefit, I can guarantee you. Thank you very much. I want to thank Dean. I want to thank our audience, because obviously without Dean, without our audience, we wouldn't have this show.
Chippewa Valley Community Television is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, you can contact us by calling 715-839-5067 or on the web at www.cbctv.org.